Continuing roll call. Senator Sweetland. Senator Thomas. Senator Tronson. Senator Van Zook. Yeah. Senator Williams.
All right, so go ahead and get going on our agenda here. And is there any discussion over the minutes from last week? They were posted on minutes. Discussion, all those in favor of approving last week's minutes, please say aye. All those opposed? Are there any abstentions? All right, those are approved. So we've got a lot going on in speaker's podium today, so I think we'll go ahead and get started with the first person on our list, Dr. Colleen Swain, our Associate Provost for Undergraduate Studies, and I believe also online education. Correct? Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to visit. First of all, I want to let you know that we're looking to increase student voice in a variety of ways. For instance, Hannah, is going to be serving on the proctoring committee, and that meets on Monday. So that's one way. Another way we want to do to get student voice is to have listening sessions. Our first listening session will be this Friday at 4 Theater. Truly a listening session. We're going to ask 2 questions. What's going well that we need to be doing? And the second one is what we need to improve on. And we'll be writing your responses. Representatives from enrollment management, student success, and academic affairs will be there so that we can try to address, not talk about the issues, but listen and go back and try to figure out what's going on for that. But we will have one listening session a month this fall. This Friday at 4 in the Theater. Wednesday, October 24th at 5:30 p.m. We're trying to keep our days and times so that we're not always excluded from the class. And then November 27th at 8 a.m. is on Tuesday. And so we wanted to let you know as the Student Government Association, so that we can spread that word of we truly want to hear your voice on ideas and we look forward to hearing. So that's all I have. Unless anyone has a question. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Hello.
I'll be honest with you, I haven't heard that, but that doesn't mean that's not happening. I honestly have not heard that, but I will ask the Office of Research and Scholarship. Yes, in terms of opportunities for students to do undergraduate research, absolutely. President Tidwell met with chairs and deans. He met with faculty before school started and talked about, let's provide additional experiences. And so I know that message is going out.
Hello.
So I don't know what to do. The speaker's right in the middle.
Assistance, is that, okay, so yes, the should we try to get it on Twitter? Or, I mean, what? I'm open to suggestions. Yes. I know that Sarah has a lot of I read. Okay. These posters about it. And also retweet all this. Okay. Totally understand. You're hungry for work. Thanks so much. I appreciate your time.
And I think you have something, and then you and Mr. Roebuck.
If we could let Lucas.
Oh, yes.
Roebuck go first,
Lucas
with
Roebuck,
regard-
our Vice President of Marketing, is also here to talk about, I believe, the
Signage.
signage.
Campus signage.
Yes.
There was some questions about campus signage.
Yes, sir.
And I kind of wanted to give a report on that, what's kind of going on with that. And Jerry also has been working very, Jerry and I, actually, we're both the VPs who are kind of charged of making this happen. And so if I can answer a question, perhaps Jerry can. But so one of the things that was clearly identified as an issue from when I got here was that we need to update all the campus wayfinding signage and all the campus signage. It's clearly old and disrepair. It's a very expensive proposition to do what we do. So you're talking about anywhere between, it could be up to $500,000 that we spend replacing the signage. So it's something that we want to make sure we do right. And so that's why it's sometimes time consuming, get the proper designs done, make sure we get the signs that make sense. Also, as you guys know, too, we've also been involved in a process of kind of coming up with the campus master plan. And one thing I want to say about the master plan, just as an aside, which I think is important, a lot of you guys saw the master plan, and a lot of people, a little bit of misconception that they think that it's like a building for building plan. And really, the main part thing to take away from the campus plan is it is a vision framework for as we decide saying, hey, we need new residential housing, right? So let's say we decide next year we need a new dorm, right, to house additional freshmen, right? Well, we're not going to build it on that side of campus because the vision says put it over on this side of campus, right? Now there may be an actual representation on that map that you saw that's a representation. The whole thing's a vision. The only building that was on the master plan that is there's actually planning for a very specific building is the College of Nursing building. And we do have a request in, but system approved that request to go to the legislature recently, and we hope the legislature will fund that. Depending on who you ask, they will or they won't. If the legislature doesn't fund it, there's a good possibility that system may fund it out of our endowment and other resources, so I'll say so. But we knew we were the point is we knew we were master planning, and even that took into effect. Well, where do we want to put signs? How do we want to place signs? We want to make sure we don't do signs we have to pull up. We spend a lot of money on them and pull them up again. So these signs are really 20-year investments. They're not something that's going to change. So all that to say is it's something that we have to do right. We have to do well. There's a huge process, and because we're going to spend more than $15,000, as you guys may know, we have a very significant procurement process on that. And so there have been a couple of various design concepts that we've been working on. None of them have kind of bubbled to the top yet, so we're not like showing anything yet, so to speak. We're still processing through that. We're still working. We haven't even identified the supplier yet, but we know it's certainly a priority. So one thing that I wanted to address that I think came up, possibly from a senator, is somebody had made the suggestion of saying, hey, can we put the 3-letter codes on the buildings? And what I want to do to you guys today is make the case of why I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think the door is closed to that idea, but let me tell you why an initial reaction might be not to do that. And what the real solution probably should be is, so what we don't want to do, and I think this comes from the president's down, is we want to create a culture of saying, hey, we're naming these buildings for reasons, right? And so we don't want you to call this building the SCOB, right? No, we want to honor John Soules and his family. So we want you guys to say Soules. We don't want to get in the habit of saying the SCOB, right? We don't want to do that. If you're going over to Brookshire Hall, right? We want to honor the Brookshire family for their contribution. So if you're coming to visit me in my office, I don't want you to say I'm going to the ADM or even to the STE as it is now. I want you to say I'm going to Stewart Hall to honor the first president of the institution. So the more we make it 3-letter codes, it makes us very robotic. Now, let's talk about practicality though, because someone says, hey, I don't know where to go. I got these 3-letter codes and I don't know what it means. And so I think what we really need to do is reverse engineer it the other way and say, on your schedules, on the things where people are first inclined to put a 3-letter code, can we instead actually just use the whole name instead of the 3-letter code? And so I think the real solution to that is not to put 3-letter codes everywhere. And so we all get into this, hey, we're robot 3-letter codes. But let's use the human names, real names, you know, the poetic names, and then let's go upstream. And on the documentation it says, where do you go to class? Let's, you know, hey, in marketing, we can figure a way to design something so you can put the full name on there, right? So invariably, in some computers applications, we will have 3-letter codes. 3-letter codes won't go away, but I think the solution is to use them as only when you absolutely have to 3-letter codes. Otherwise, try to use the full name when possible. So that was kind of the one on that. And so if it's okay with Jerry, what I can give it to you and say, when we get a little closer on the designs, we'll have to certainly bring them for this body before we make a final decision on it. So you guys can see that. You can kind of see where we think we're going to place them and some of the thoughts behind that, and certainly some more opportunity for your input. But that's kind of where we are in the process. It's something that we lose sleep over at night, not sleep over at night, but it's something that's on our plates and we got to get it done. And so I fully expect that to happen. The earliest would be the end of this semester, but certainly during this academic year to get that sign project done and get those signs replaced. So with that, I'm ready for questions. And I hope that answers the questions you guys have. Do you guys have other questions or other things that you need to know right now? No? Okay, well, if you do, we're happy to come back, and we will come back. Either Jerry or I will come back when we have something to show and some of that concept. And I want to do, before I give up the podium here, I do want to really appreciate that you guys are actively thinking about this stuff, and that you guys are saying, hey, I think that's great. You know, I was in Student Government Association, in my alma mater, and quite frankly, we did nothing, right? And it was kind of a token thing. And I really appreciate you guys saying, hey, we have a concern, and we want to address it. And so we absolutely need to hear that. It helps us even, it puts a fire on our behinds, if you will, saying, hey, the students care about these signs too. It's not just the president, it's not just whatever. And so we want to get those things done. So thank you very much for you guys being engaged and involved. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Lucas. I'm going to change subjects slightly from signage to sidewalks. So I'm here seeking your help, seeking your advice, and I'm seeking your support. We have been working probably 6 months on a plan that has 6 phases for construction of new sidewalks on the UT Tyler campus, all the way from Varsity Drive up to the intersection of Varsity and Old Oman, across Old Oman, all the way down on UT Tyler's property down to University Boulevard, and then from University Boulevard all the way down to what was formerly a little turned around Lake Drive out here, which is now will be called Liberty Lane. A series of 6 different phases of sidewalks, 10-foot wide sidewalks so that both pedestrians, bicyclists, golf carts can all cohabitate on the sidewalks. One of those phases is a sidewalk that's being proposed between Victory Village and Liberty Landing on the back side of the property, not along the highway. That one is going to take a little bit longer because we're asking that it be built on property we don't, UT Tyler does not own, seeking an easement from other property owners to be able to create that. But it will create then a link, a pedestrian link, again, 10-foot wide. In fact, that one will be 15 feet wide to connect from the back end of Liberty Landing all the way down to Victory Village. But I'm actually here, that was just a brief view to say, here's what we're working on. It's in process, it's in construction documents. We're hopefully, a couple months away from being able to put it out to bid to a general contractor to be able to give us a price and then be able to award that and get into construction. But I'm actually here to ask for your interest, support, and see what your motivation is for something else. As we look at how to improve our property, UT Tyler's main campus with additional sidewalks, that's great. That helps all of us who actually reside or work on the main campus. The challenge is that we have found, we've run a data search, we have 227 of your colleagues that live north and west of campus between 5th Street, Varsity, the Loop, Old Omen and kind of over a little bit of ways. And that is not UT Tyler property. That is all private residences that have public city streets running through them that all have right-of-ways, probably 10, 15-foot right-of-ways that the city can go in on, say I owned a house on Old Omen and I own a corner lot. There's a 15-foot right-of-way that the city can come in and widen the street or put amenities in that area. What we're seeking is sidewalks that would be constructed by the city in that region so that our colleagues, our fellow students who live in that area have a way to actually walk from apartments and houses, rental homes, their own homes, from that region, that right now there is no way to get from their homes to the main campus without walking in the streets. And I think many of you may have been here. Josh, was it 2017? Was it January, February of 17 when the young man was walking in Old Omen in the bike lane and was struck? And 18 or 17? He came January of 17, so it was early on. Was struck and partially paralyzed, and I don't know the situation if he's regained any of that mobility. We don't want that to happen again. That's why we're working on sidewalks within our own UT property. But that leaves us still void of any safe means for all of our colleagues who live out in that neighborhood to be able to get to campus safely on a sidewalk. And when I came today, I talked to Savannah and said, I'm here to say, I'm going to go to the city of Tyler, work with their city manager, work with their planner to begin having conversations. And I would like to know if any of you as SGA, as senators, executive board members, if any of you have an interest, a passion, a desire to work with me in advocating with the city of Tyler to encourage them to spend city dollars in that region and create some viable sidewalks so that our classmates and others can actually walk, bike campus safely. So that's really my proposition today, is just looking for support, looking for interest from any of you that would like to join me, work with me. We'll work with the city. We'll go have conversations and see what we can do, try to convince them from a student safety perspective of the need. And it benefits the whole community. I mean, all the neighborhoods, the folks who live up there with children, or a lot of them like to come down to campus, ride their bikes and use the lakes and ride all around. So it makes for a safer community. I'm being selfish. I'm looking out for us in this case, and looking for folks to come join us to advocate with the city to see if they'll take their city dollars as we create our sidewalks to link up and create sidewalks on their property and their right of way. Yes, ma'am.
Senator, helping you.
I will take all. Obviously, if this is important and passionate, the more voices that we take along to City Hall to advocate has a great impression. That it's important. All of a sudden, Jerry showing up like that much. You bring a bunch of students with you that say, hey, this is us, this is our campus, these are our colleagues, it's important to us, their safety is important to us. The more folks who are interested, I'll find a bigger conference room that, to take along and advocate. It's really to be able to go to the City Hall and advocate that you're important, our safety is important, and we deserve to be able to have the city build us some sidewalks. Yes, sir. We have not. We haven't even run routes. at this point, whether we come down Patriot, whether we come down Old Omen. We have estimates for ours on campus, and it's in the millions. Well, but those are 10-foot wide. In the city, you'd probably get a 4-foot or a 5-foot sidewalk on someone's residential property. So it's not as much, but it's not inexpensive. But I'm sorry, one person's livelihood now being paralyzed, how do you put a dollar value on that? His life is forever altered. I don't think you can put a dollar value on that. And that's why I think our safety, our student safety, is important enough to put in front of our councilmen, councilwomen, and advocate strongly that we think it's a worthwhile investment on the city's budget part to come in and provide. Yes, sir.
How can we help?
Volunteers at this point of who would like to participate in advocacy and what my plan is. We meet with the city group next week, and they're going to ask how can we best serve UT Tyler, and I'll raise my hand and say I've got a group that I'd like you to meet with, not the city manager but the planning manager, and ask if she would make time for a meeting that we could then either host here or go to City Hall and have this conversation with them and say, here's what we're looking for, here's what we would like to request. So it's not a lot of time, it's just a matter of participation, showing up. Yes,
I think it's a great idea. I'm with you that we need more sidewalks and that it would be great for the community to have sidewalks to walk to campus and the people that live off campus. So I think it's a great idea.
Awesome. Would you be great enough to be
I
willing to
volunteer.
participate?
I volunteer.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what she said.
Great.
Yeah,
Done.
I
Thank
really,
you.
I really like that idea, and I was wondering, like, if there could be a possible way we could do it as together as SGA, if possible. Like, if she can come in here and speak, and we can all do this together, if that's like all willing.
It's possible. We can have that conversation and begin. I think we need to do our homework and get together, maybe go see her first and have a conversation and then invite her here to have that and have the power of this group, in a conversation with her. That'd be great. Yes.
I was going to say what they say. I think.
Awesome. Yes, sir.
I work here at the Echo right now. Great idea. Civil engineering major. I love construction. Big fan of sidewalks.
Yeah.
And like to volunteer my time to help.
Well, thank you. Hey, well, anyone else that would feel passionate and want to participate? Yeah, Braylon, do you have a list of,
Yeah, I'll get a
of folks that? Yeah, Emily. Yes. Awesome. Thank you. If you would let Braylon know, Braylon can send me an email, and then here within several weeks we'll meet. Trying to think. Today's Wednesday. We meet next Tuesday with the city manager and all of his deputies. So we'll start that conversation as soon as we get through that lunch meeting with the district planner. I'll reach out to the group that Braylon sends me, and we'll get together. We'll meet and talk first strategy, and then set up a time to go and visit the manager and have this conversation, get a response, and then ask that she come back to an SGA meeting, if that would be okay, Savannah,
Absolutely.
and have that conversation. Well, I appreciate it. I think this is something that you all could provide a legacy for future SGAs of saying, hey, in 2018, we recognized that safety of our students in the area is that important. And then get in mind, this is in addition to what we're spending and doing on our own property, that we care enough about our community outside our boundaries to advocate for that as well. So thank you. Braylon, thank you. I'll look forward to your email and look forward to your participation. Thank you, everyone.
Okay. I'm so sorry, Miss Sarah Roberts. I know she's on the agenda, but she cannot make it tonight. She has some really interesting stuff for y'all next week. She wanted to make sure she was fully prepared for y'all's questions and conversation. So we'll go ahead and move on to officer reports. I'll start. I mean, obviously, tonight is midnight breakfast. I'm so excited to see you all casual. I never get to see you all casual. I always feel like we're super busy. But hopefully y'all are comfy and can get back to midnight breakfast around 9:30, 9:45. We have a lot of faculty and staff this year. Katie's done an amazing job getting them more engaged in this event and giving them the opportunity to connect with students by being there and getting a t-shirt and helping us serve food. We've never done that before. And I believe, Jerry, you're going to be there as usual.
I will serve sausage.
This is one of your favorite things of the year. So that's really, really exciting. And I think that's all I have. Today's been a solid day, lots of speakers. Vice President, I always want to call you Katie. I'm so sorry. Vice President Higgin. Okay, I'll buckle up. I got a lot.
Okay, I guess I'll start. I'll go in order. So Treasurer McLeod and I went to UT SAC this weekend last week. Very productive, I felt. For those of you who don't know, UT SAC stands for UT Systems Student Advisory Council. So representatives from all the student governments from all UT. So, and we had 3 meetings. It was this past weekend, and then we're going back in the middle of November, and then back again and by the end of it, we have drafted a proposal on various issues to send to a system, whether that's a recommendation, whether it's support, anything like that. So that's what we're working on with that. It's a really great opportunity for us to get with other UT system schools and kind of see what they're dealing with at their campuses, kind of issues that they have and priorities there. So as far as the actual committees go, Jacob and Treasurer McLeod and I are both on the Academic Equity Committee, and Treasurer McLeod was elected vice chair of that committee, so congratulations. And then he is also on the Academic Affordability Committee, and then I got on the Student Support / Health and Wellness Committee, and that I'm on the Equity Subcommittee. So we have a lot of things that we're working on. Right now, we're just trying to get some feedback on some issues that we talked about there. So be on the lookout for one of us to help that, or just trying to reach out to other students. So that's that. Other time that I spent this week was mostly working on the ballot. As you know, starting tonight at midnight breakfast, technically, we'll have early voting tonight, and the ballot will open for everyone at midnight tonight. And then the polls will stay open until Friday at 5 p.m. So I'm sure you all vote and encourage all your friends to vote, because these are all people that you're going to be working with. So that took up a lot of time, and then also planning for midnight breakfast, which she said that was a little bit more work this year because I was corresponding with Dr. Wycliffe, who is the Faculty Senate President, who then helped me. He sent an email to all faculty and staff asking for volunteers. So then that helped a lot because then a lot of faculty were, he put my email in there and CC'd me so they had access to my email and were RSVPing that way. So let's just say we're going to have a lot of faculty there tonight. So if you see them and if you know any of them, thank them for being there. Encourage them to come back next semester. And if you have questions, be like, hey, you should come volunteer next semester because it's a really fun time and we'd like to have a better relationship with faculty. Other things, y'all ignore the month on the agenda. All the dates are correct, but it should be September for all of them. So, so September 12th today, that's tonight, midnight breakfast, elections tomorrow and Friday, and then September 20th is Constitution Week event. That's the voter registration picnic. Everybody, open up your ears. This is an important announcement. You need to pick up a Rock the Vote t-shirt from the Student Affairs office sometime next week before that event, because that is a mandatory event. We will all be wearing Rock the Vote t-shirts and meeting our constituents and talking to them about different issues or whatever, just getting to people that you represent. But everybody needs to go pick up a shirt. Anybody not know where the Student Affairs office is? Okay, good. If you have any questions, oh, Annette, you don't know? Do you know what a Student Engagement office is? Upstairs in the UC? Okay, so Student Affairs is like if you keep going, you go out the back door of that office and you just go down that hallway, there's like these big glass windows and the Student Affairs But if you need help finding it. So everybody needs to go by there next week and pick up a shirt and then wear it to that event on 20th. It's going to be 4 to 6. As I said, it is mandatory. So if you can't be there, go and ask for it. We'll have name tags for you with your seat so that you can talk to people and they will know who you are, things like that. There will also be city council people there. So that's a good opportunity for them if you're interested in that kind of thing. So yeah, and then September 29th, we kind of were spitballing ideas for our SGA training. We thought that it would be a good idea to turn kind of a training and like a service event. So we're gonna have a training for part of the day where we go over all the different policies that we have for SGA, Robert's Rules of Order, all that kind of stuff with all of you guys and with all of the senators. And then we're also going to have like kind of a cleanup event. And we're going to get some more information about that from Chase Ragland. But yeah, so that's all. Sorry, that was a lot, but it's all really important stuff, so don't forget.
Okay, I'm really sorry to mess up the agenda, but I remembered the thing that I forgot from my little spill earlier. You should have gotten a message in Canvas from Jacob. The 21st, which is next Friday, is a really, really big day for SGA. We are taking senators and executive board members on a trip. It's going to be fun, but it's also a little bit of work, to 2 different campuses to meet with 2 other student governments that are similar in size to us and even bigger and have been around a long time, are extremely successful, and do a lot of good work throughout their school years. We're going to UT Arlington, and then we're also visiting TCU, Texas Christian University. I believe Josh is getting the bus, working on it. So we're still talking like 15. Okay, no more than 15, including, I believe, all 5 of us. So 10 senators. Send us a message in Canvas. Talk to us after the meeting if you're interested in going. This will be a really awesome opportunity to learn from those institutions, student governments, and learn from their officers about what's going on their campuses, how they handle certain issues, and what they've been doing really well, and an opportunity for them to learn from us because we're a growing SGA, we're a growing institution, and we're facing some challenges or some things that maybe they haven't faced and will face or are facing. And it's fully paid for. Your transportation, I think the food that day is going to be covered by us. And so please let us know if you're interested in doing that. And it would be considered an excused absence from any of your classes, Josh? It would be considered like excused absence from class. It would be a university sponsored thing. Yeah. I feel like, yeah. Okay. So sorry I messed up the agenda, but I can't believe I forgot that. So we'll just go ahead and move on to Secretary Seeley.
Okay, I've been working on still marketing like I do every week. If you don't follow us on Instagram or Twitter, please do so. It helps a lot when you like friends see it, their friends see it, and it gets more people to come to our events. Therefore, and less more efficient, more money, more power. Raise your hand if you don't have a midnight breakfast shirt. And keep your hand raised if you are small. I'm just going to do this right now. Small, right?
Well,
Okay, raise your hand if you're medium.
Medium.
Largest. Extra large. Okay, perfect. So now everyone's ready. Please wear those to midnight breakfast. Since we do have a lot, I'll get there by 9:45. If you are not there by 9:45, I'm going to be there during that. Wear those. We are going to have, I think we have what, 10 or 12 representatives? We're getting up there. But we would still like some senators to serve with them. You can get to know your faculty. And also, y'all are going to be walking around, talking to people, telling them to vote. I mean, you can, Johnson, stay with him. Just do something. Better yourself some. Okay, and I've also been working on, so for the Constitution Week event, we're all going to have name tags. So I think I'll be in the office right before it, you can do stuff, or I can meet there. Either way, it's fine, but you'll have a name tag with your SGs. Yeah, it's actually.
All right. Treasurer Nicole.
Yeah, so as President Seeley mentioned earlier, we're going to Arlington for our trip, and I met with the President, Vice President, Vice President this weekend at UT Stack, and they are very excited to meet us. So I hope y'all would like to go. In order to go, we need y'all to fill out these forms. So I have about 10 printed out. So if you need one, just come by after the meeting, fill it out quickly, and just give it to people to get that done as quickly as possible. If you have any questions, I can help out with that. And that's really all I can do.
And Parliament.
Okay, so this past week, I've been working on the elections and making sure everything's set up for that, tables, iPads. And I do want to thank Katie. She helped out a lot on the ballot. Qualtrics is actually really difficult. And I don't know, everything's set up. Midnight breakfast, see you there. We'll have an election table. Make sure your friends come and vote. And that's it.
All right, and we'll move on to student voice reports. First up is the Souls College of Business. Y'all right there.
All right, so I met with one of the associate deans today.
Senator Hendricks, would you mind speaking up a little bit so Zoom can hear you?
Yes.
Thank you.
I met with one of the associate deans today, and she gave me a number of updates. So there's a new freshman experience. It's basically there's an ambassador program. It's just now getting started, so there's only a few members in it right now. But basically, there'll be emails sent out to the freshmen, as far as I understand, about meeting with freshmen, just kind of getting more ingratiated into the campus and stuff. There's an open computer lab on the second floor, if anyone needs to use that. There's some spring projects. Basically, on the first floor next to the coffee shop, there's going to be a trading floor. It has to do with finance, stocks, and whatnot. I don't know too much about it, but that's going to be done in the spring. And there's going to be a new welcome center above that on the second floor. And the fourth floor is not going to be done until the spring. And that's going to consist of offices, lounge area, ballrooms, etc. And that's all I have.
So the coffee shop that we were promised, there's no timetable currently on that, but should be up and running. And they did mention that there's no vending machine. You haven't noticed, so that is a possible project. So the new machine.
Thank you, Souls. Next up, we have Houston campus. Senator Schenkel is on Zoom.
Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. We're trying to get the students more involved this year. And so we're doing kind of incorporating all the organizations to do things together, because we really don't have a lot over here. We have like a computer lab and that's it. So we're trying to, I guess, get the students involved so that way they're on campus more and they're more excited. And Dr. Garcia, he's the head of mechanical engineering, and he's trying to get that together. So that will be good for our campus. But a few of us are coming down tomorrow for the student leadership meeting. And so there's about 10 of us that will be there tomorrow just for the evening. And then we're going to come back. Other than that, we're just going to try to we're having issues with our computer lab. It doesn't work at all. So we don't have licenses. We don't really have, our printer doesn't work. We have one printer for all 400 and something students, and it doesn't work. So that's an issue that we're having that we're trying to get addressed. So other than that, we're going to try to talk about that stuff tomorrow when we get there. But other than that, there's not a whole lot going on down here.
Senator Schenkel, those student organizations you're trying to get more involved on your campus, they also have access to SGAC funds. So that link is in Canvas. It's on the website, as well as you have a distance campus fund within the SGA budget to do projects or events on your campus. And Mr. Steph is still here, as well as Josh. Is there someone specific she can talk to about the IT or anyone in there that maybe?
Sorry, you cut out. Dr. Garcia, he's the one that's trying to coordinate this more. We have a floor on the Houston Community College campus, and so we're trying to partner with them on certain things. That way we can use their facilities, because if we don't partner with them, we can't use anything. We have only classrooms and a lab, and that's making it a little difficult. But they seem receptive of that. But Dr. Garcia, he's trying to get more of like a centralized website and a centralized bank account for our funds, because we have NSBE down here, we have ASCE and SWE and IEEE, and they started HECML. It's the coding, and so we're trying to start all this stuff. It's a little difficult, but I believe Dr. Garcia would be the best person to talk to. Are any of you guys going to be at that meeting tomorrow?
This is the first, I think, pretty much all of us are hearing of that meeting, but I'll try and ask around tomorrow, and we can get with you again through Canvas about some possible contacts and things of that nature to address some of those issues you're having and get some resources down there to you guys.
Yeah, that would be great, because it's a little disheartening when you're paying for tuition and you literally cannot use the computer lab or anything. Like, makes it a little frustrating down here. But other than that, the school's been really good about getting us up there to when we need to be there for like meetings and when we have conventions and things like that. They've been really good in that respect about getting us where we need to go. We're just having some issues with, I don't think that they know what it's like here, so it's hard to picture it,
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Senator Schenkel, and we'll make sure we get more with you.
Perfect. Thank you.
Tomorrow. And I believe next up is student body at large. Let's go for it.
Bottom floor bathroom is actually both. That's where our renovation project started. Sorry, the impression of the plan. There's no mirrors in there. Like, but we need that, and besides that, it's going to be going on, so maybe there was a notice on the billboard.
I'm getting a lot of complaints that various classes from CS schools, and that's made it pretty pretty much impossible to do classes on time, as having to go from first and second floor of this building, RBN 4000. And I told people at the bike shower, it said like, hey, you can sign up for your committee. Not just an email. You get the number. And everyone I'm talking to that I told that to had no idea that that was a thing. So I don't know if we marketed that very well. I don't know if there were wires or emails sent out. So I don't know if it's like misinformation, lack of information that happened.
I think we did our best through social media, but a student-wide email is possibly a very good idea. There was also sort of a launch that first week of school during the Patriot Palooza events where we had representatives from the bike share company coming and helping students sign up and get those memberships. But obviously they can't reach everyone. Not everyone comes to those events. But thank you for pointing that out, and maybe we could get some more information to students out about that.
I just know in the HPR.
I'm sorry, can you speak up, please?
We need better equipment for like here.
Okay.
And we need more. Sometimes the professors makes this program this all final that we don't have some of us get that well. And so we're confined to that land. But it's a lot of times it's not. That makes it hard.
Yeah. Do we know who is chair of mass communication? I don't think anyone would know off of their head.
Dr. Rowe. It is.
Okay. Yeah. It's possible you could contact that chair about specific needs in that department, and then can go forward with the chair. Is that all from Mr. Biden? Cool. Thank you. So we'll move on to, yes, so since this was our first, thank you, Vice President Higgin, you just saving the day again. She just reminded me that since this is our first student voice reports, there isn't a follow-up listed, but we will have follow-ups next week. So that's like an opportunity for what we talked about with like microwaves and vending machines, or updates to different kinds of things, bike share stuff, everything I just talked about, an opportunity to come back next week and kind of update the rest of us on what information you were able to find out or what action you were able to take on those issues, or how we can help you keep going with those. Oh no. So those of you who spoke this week, be prepared for next week. And now that the screen's gone, check the agenda to find out who's up for student voice reports next week.
It's College of Nursing Sciences, Nursing and Health Sciences, and College of Engineering.
That's next.
That's next meeting.
That's next.
Yes. Okay. So now we'll move on to committees. Student life.
Yes, everything I'm about to see. And we talked about the names for Constitution Week then, that's story. So you guys know it. And I guess Katie figured out name tags. Kind of. Okay, so touch on the t-shirts. The Mark and Go t-shirt, get it fine. Student fairs, third floor, and that's pretty much what we talking
about. Communications committee.
Right. We'll swap that to you. If you say you're going to be somewhere, please go. I had one person show up to my, and I brought donuts. Okay? So, just saying, if you want to go, be a part of SJ, you need to go to also the committee meeting. So, me and Roberto just kind of did a little intro for each other. Now we're besties. And we got the lanyards for the name tags. They're the ones that, the little leftover ones from Project Patriot. And Camry taught me how to do the actual name tags. And we're going to be doing that next week. That's our community meeting. So please come.
SJC.
Okay, so we met today, and all of them showed up. That was that. And so today, we did not meet with organizations scheduled to meet. They're both distance organizations, and again, communication. So scheduled for next week. So we're trying to work that out. Also today, we looked at those changes to the SJC policy and how they fit. And we made one change within the committee, and so new business, how we present voting. That's it.
And finally, rules/student affairs.
Okay, so we met yesterday. We kind of just did an introduction, but everyone that is in that committee, we will be working the election tables tonight at midnight breakfast. Also, this is just in general, we have an election table sign-up sheet. If you're not doing anything from on Thursday or Friday from 11 to 1, please come sign up for one of these slots. And then next week, we have a lot of things planned for both the Student Affairs and the Rules Committee. One of them is the Senator training. The Rules Committee is going to be focused on that. And then after that, we'll be focused on you look under new business, student body-wide emails. We will be discussing that and possibly writing up a resolution on maybe creating a policy on SGA sending out student body-wide emails. If y'all want to discuss that tonight, we can, just for some ideas, or we can just push off to next week when we have it all set up.
There's nothing on the agenda under old business, but is there any old business from you guys? Going once? Twice? Cool. New business. That would be Treasurer McClellan.
Motion to vote to change it.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve changes to the SGAC guideline. Yeah.
Everyone read it.
Jacob, I'm Treasurer McLeod. I'm so sorry. I always want to call them by their first names. I deeply apologize. Treasurer McLeod, you have the floor.
So I'm just gonna show y'all. Okay, so I'm just gonna show y'all the changes we made. I just went through it. And there was only one change that I made before the Senate tonight. So it's in the prohibition. Okay. So prohibition, y'all know. We were at the SJC following. I'd add one little subsection saying we will not approve long funding requests. If an event is occurring, the committee encourages organizations to make funding requests for the event. Funding will be determined on a case-by-case basis. So we decided to do this because last year, at the beginning of the semester, we get huge requests for $500 in total for events throughout the semester. And what that does, after we approve out funds, we just try to be careful not to the budget. So we can't approve more than we have. That locks up our funding, so we can't. So maybe by like the middle of the semester, someone says we want our money as well, but we can't do that. So in this way, it'll just free up everything and ensure that every student organization can have their events funded, because every organization can get the maximum $500. So having change more efficient.
Vice President Higgin. I guess I have kind of like a comment and then a question, probably for our advisor. Because when I had heard about this change, what first came into my head was, oh, well, that just makes it to where there's more paperwork basically for the student loans, because instead of like, if they have like, they already know that they have scheduled, for example, like a meeting every week for the rest of the semester, and they like want pizza, for example, every week. They already know that they're going to have pizza every week. The change now would translate into them having to fill out a request every week, as opposed to just doing it once at the beginning of the semester and getting the money approved for the whole semester for all the meetings. And that just kind of like seems to me like it's a little bit more difficult for student organizations, especially if they have those events planned out. So what I had thought was, is there a way that they can approve the funding, and then if the student organization ends up not using that funding, then it can go back, basically like free it back up if they end up not using it?
Based on that thing,
So we would have to, could we amend it to reflect that?
but by the time we discover that we have to do our fund, the problem that this is trying to address is every group that got approval for special request, everybody else took on hold. This ensures that every group has an opportunity to actually be possible. Special request, evaluating what is it's one thing for one to do, it's posted every week. Before, after we go on and so.
Actually, could I ask a question real fast? If you're on Jacob's committee, please raise your hand. Just the two of y'all that are here tonight. And Senator Mendez, can you give me some insight into what y'all discussed when y'all came up with this change? Whenever y'all made this change, can you give me some, like a summary of what the conversation was, or the reason y'all made this change? All of it. Sure. Anything that's relevant, please.
Okay, so I was in about
You're speaking, please speak out, because we also need to make sure the microphone speak out. And I have that.
louder.
Yes, please.
Okay. Oh, wait, sorry. Okay.
You can do it.
So last semester I was in Escape with Jacob, and we talked about changing there's lots of organizations coming in stuff, and we thought that they weren't like it was just for their organization about business, the entire campus. So they were getting this money and weren't using it, and it could have been for other organizations. So we decided to kind of another kind of keep that money instead of just from the organization. It was another an inviting and a had a look for how for everyone and for the business or a bigger. So that's how we decided, I guess, almost on it. And today we decided that and so this, but we thought it might affect in a way, it would affect the SBA because it would be coming in every week to ask for every for their like per week budget and have opportunities with the other organizations about
Vice President, this is just a general question for anybody who can answer it. Just to get like an idea of the scope, about how much money is going unused by these organizations. If you could give us an educated guess.
I would normally say, y'all, actually it's allocated y'all by about 1,000. Here's the full amount given.
And how much is the
That Casey,
Senator Ivey.
Yes. I just was curious as to how many organizations are asking to fund pizza for weekly. I feel like maybe that would be one or two organizations. It's quite a few.
Most of our requests are for them. Maybe like 4 or 5, like actually like 6 or 10 for the entire student body, like 10 million.
Parliamentarian Copeland.
Last year, how many organizations or requests did you have to deny because y'all were out?
We didn't ask for yeah. So, and all.
Senator Mosley.
If we look into top one the need because like this
Vice President. To Senator Mosley's point, I think that's the decision that was made at their meetings every week. I don't think that it would be wise to make that decision because it's on a basis, and that's their job as the not rules. That the SUs that's kind of what they're tasked with. So I would advise buying.
So thought about looking like so we decided to go by case basis because some students are very new. They're trying to down. So we're just going to look at it. The main expression of it's the organizational funding have. So I didn't want to add it. I didn't want to. So first.
Does anyone else have anything new to add to the discussion? All right, then we'll move into a vote. All those in favor of approving the proposed changes to the SJC guidelines, please say aye and raise your hand. Aye. All those opposed. Are there any abstentions? That motion passes. All right. Okay. Is there any other new business? I know there's something on the agenda, but Parliamentarian. But parliamentarian Copeland already addressed that, so that would be up to y'all if y'all would like to motion an action item for that. New business going once. Twice. What's up? We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Oh, you're saying?
Okay, motion to create an ad
I
hoc.
did.
Motion to create an ad hoc. Well, she has to do it? Okay, so,
What?
Explain.
Oh. Senator Morrison.
Motion to, motion for, create an ad hoc. That's running.
What? Chair does not recognize that motion.
There we go. Second.
Momentarily, I'll explain why I did not address that motion. That committee would do what SGA does in general. So having an ad hoc committee to address student body issues would not make sense.
Okay, so motion to request President Seeley to create an ad hoc committee to partner with Jerry and do sidewalks for City Hall.
Second. It's been motioned and seconded to request President Seeley to create an ad hoc committee over that would address the issue of sidewalks. Oh, sidewalk committee, yes. Secretary Seeley, you have the floor.
All right, I'm all on board with the sidewalks. We need it. Bike lanes they're not good for walking in, obviously. A lot of you have shown interest in it. I would be fine with chairing this committee but I think we should. Or a senator, one of you can chair it. You're very, very passionate. And we can meet whenever we need to discuss further.
Vice President Hicken, I think that's a really great idea considering how the proposal was brought. It's going to require a lot of different action, so it just kind of makes sense. And I think that's a really great opportunity for one of you to chair it.
Senator Johnson.
So can we not chair? Wait. Just
Okay,
throw it out there.
that's a question. When I make the committee, do I just choose a chair? I can ask or choose, and decision. If you're interested in chairing this committee that I'm possibly leaning towards creating as an ad hoc committee, just let me know, and we'll see who has possibly the most time to do this in the best way possible, or who's best fit for working on this project. That's just my 2 cents. Sorry. Does anyone have anything new to add to the discussion? No, it's fine. Vice President.
Yeah, I think you should do it.
Thanks, man. Secretary Seeley.
Yeah, I second that. Let's do it.
Anyone else? So if there's no more discussion, we'll move on to voting. All those in favor of approving the request for me to create an ad hoc committee, that would be the sidewalk committee, please raise your hand and say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? That passes. So now, can I just do that, or? But before I do something of that nature, can I get a show of hands of who would be interested in chairing that committee? Okay, so I'll contact each of you, and then we'll make that announcement possibly next week. So we'll make that announcement next week. Thank you, guys. Is there any other new business?
What is the action?
It's what Parliamentarian Copeland mentioned in his committee reports, that we're interested in. SGA currently does have the privilege of sending student-wide emails to every single student enrolled at UT Tyler. And so, to preface, we've been getting a lot of requests from different groups, from different faculty, to send out emails with their information or on behalf of different things going on campus. And so we as the executive board discussed it, and we feel like there should be a policy in place, and it should be something that is reflective of what is best for students. And that's why I think a policy written by Student Affairs and approved by the Senate is going to be the best way to address that privilege that we have. And that's something that was agreed upon by the executive board. And I would be happy to entertain a motion for that, or we can discuss it right now, or we can wait until Student Affairs Committee has written a draft of the policy and then discuss and edit it from there. So that's totally up to you guys. Just getting you some more information about that. But so new business. All right, seeing none. Advisor comments?
I'm disheartened to hear about it.
Yeah.
Come on, every year. Like, organization, action. I go on the limb and say that. You're the largest.
Over 500 students.
They, the thesis helps. Seriously, I'm excited about next week, seeing full again. Double. Good. So really, that means that on today, this night, student body lining count, student government, I just working on a while now, so I don't have it all. Just hang up with I have attached to but I didn't have a framer.
Okay, no, never mind. Thank you for that, Advisor Neves. Any announcements? I mean, I'll see y'all at 9:45 for some darn good breakfast food, breakfast potatoes. That's where it's at. Treasurer McClellan?
Just a reminder, if y'all want to go.
Oh, yeah.
We fill these out like tonight, so we can get everything. Yeah.
Thank you. Second roll call? Yeah. Secretary Seeley, would you please dispense second roll call? President Seeley? Here. Vice President Impton? Here. Treasurer McClellan? Parliamentarian Copeland? Senator Adams?
Here.
Senator Aguilar? Senator Camarillo? Senator Cooper? Here. Senator Cox?
Here.
Senator Daniel?
Here.
Senator Dare?
Here.
Senator Duda? And Senator, oh yeah. Senator Farouk?
Here.
Senator Hendricks?
Here.
Senator Ivey? Here. Senator Jawad?
Here.
Senator Johnson? Here. Senator Kaufman? Here. Senator Cole? Senator Meek? Senator Mendez? Senator Morrison? Senator Mosley?
Here.
Senator Nagaraj?
Here.
Senator Oates? Senator Kent?
Senator Perez. Senator Schenkel.
Here.
Senator Sweet. Senator Sweetland. Senator Thomas. Senator Thompson. And Senator Wood.
Here.
I'm sorry, we have some of our judicial board members also on our canvas because they want to stay updated. So we'll have to try and find a better way to identify them for roll call purposes. Can I entertain a motion? Senator Morrison? It's been motioned and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed? Are there any abstentions? Meeting adjourned. See y'all later.
Get your Rock the Boat t-shirts next week for student affairs.
That too.
What time are we leaving our project?
Yeah, well,